Hey guys, welcome back to Homestead Prepping and Survival. Thought I'd just show y'all what I got today. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this one is a little bit smaller than the rest. And then this one was slightly bigger than that. I know it looks a little hard to tell on camera, but this egg is smaller. It looks like it's maybe a chicken's first lay or one of the first couple. And the reason that's important because I've been getting 2 eggs a day from the teenager adults in this first pen. And today I still got 2 eggs, but that one is much smaller than the other eggs. So that makes me feel like the third hen has finally started laying, and maybe one of the 2 that's been laying for a week or so skipped a day, which is not uncommon for hens to skip a day once in a while. But anyway, I'm thinking now, since that's a much smaller egg, and I could tell easily in plain sight, I know, like I say, it's hard to tell on camera, that I got 5 eggs from the adults today. So that was 7 in the basket. I'm thinking in the next few days, maybe I'll get 8. You know, if one of them doesn't skip, which they do. That white one skips 2 or 3 times a week. But eventually I'm going to end up with 8 eggs because I've got 8 adult laying age hens. So I let the adults out because it is getting close to time to process them and put them in the freezer. And I want them to forage as much as possible so that, you know, they have a natural diet, not just that layer crumble. And chickens naturally eat grass and bugs and weeds and stuff like that. So anyway, then the 18 babies over here, the babies have outgrown the little red one that I hatched. The other 17 I bought from, my son bought from Tractor Supply and Americans and gave to me Father's Day. He gave me 24, but 7 of them didn't make it over the first week. We stepped on a couple, and then one of them got stuck in the wire on the dog kennel when I was keeping them in there, and didn't make it through the night because they couldn't get with the rest to be warm. And so anyway, things happen when they're tiny. So anyhow, there's that little red one is about 2 to 3 weeks older than the rest, but all the other baby hens or chickens, because they at least 4 roosters in there, I'm pretty sure, are actually bigger than she is now. So I guess those breeds just grow bigger. But anyway, I wanted to show y'all I actually got 7 a week or so ago, but my granddaughter dropped one and broke it, so I didn't get to put 6 in the house. But today I've got 7, so not a big deal. You don't fuss when you drop an egg. It's part of, learning and so on. So anyway, I went to our Sunday or Saturday men's group this morning. I was about 15-20 minutes late. I was kind of moving slow. It's rough to get up really, really early every single day. I like to sleep a little bit late once or twice a week, and haven't had that in a while. So truck riding by. But either way, got home. I sat down for about 15 minutes, and my brother kept texting me and calling me about coming to the family reunion, which honestly I had almost made my mind up not to go, but I went because, I should. Last year I was working. This year I didn't have to work, so it's good to see family once in a while that you haven't seen. Sometimes the only time I see them is at family reunion, so it's all right. But either way, went to that. Got home about an hour ago, and it is early afternoon. Still got 3+ hours of daylight left before the sun goes down. So I am planning on letting these adults scratch for a while, and as usual, when they get ready to start hanging out in their pen, I'll close them up and let the babies out to run around a little bit. See that white hen there? She is trying to pick on those other chickens through the fence. And the thing is she's the last of the pecking order when it comes to the 5 hens in the adult pen. She doesn't get away with anything. They pick at her, but she gives it to any other chickens that come around. So anyway, I'm gonna get out here and I'm gonna try to do a little more of my trenching, and I might better rethink that thought. Go ahead and get inside, turn the power off to the mini barn, and get that wire pulled up out of the ground so I don't pickaxe at 120 volts. Wouldn't hurt me, but I don't want to short anything out. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do a little work, and the men's group at church, neither one of my son-in-laws made it today, but the men's group at church, this is only the second one we've had. We're trying to do it once a month, but we plan not to just go to church and eat and, you know, sit there and read the Bible and talk and fellowship, which is really, really, to me, is uplifting, as you know, way more than I expected it to be. I love being around good, godly men. We're all sinners, but we all try to be there for each other. And, you know, of course, as the group continues going, we will all get closer together, and that's what it's all about: fellowship and supporting each other in their walk of faith. So anyway, what I brought that up for is that we had talked about doing different things. We may have a fishing trip, we may have a camping trip, we may go have a range day, you know, all kinds of different things that has been suggested. Well, this morning, about 90% of the ones that were there, which was not quite as many as last time, but a pretty good group, all raised their hand, wanted to do a range day, and I volunteered my range because the other range that we have access to, that's a public or private range you have to pay to go to and do all that stuff, is we would not be able to do it until November, and that's, you know, 2 months away, because we've still got one more meeting before then. But I offered my range, so I've got to get out there before the 15th of October and get the shelter finished on the pistol range, because that's primarily what we will be doing. We will be following all the safety rules. We will have safety team leader out there overseeing everything that's going on, and each shooter will have a person standing behind them, especially inexperienced shooters, trying to make sure that everything is as safe as possibly can be. But anyway, we're going to be doing that. So I may have to kind of rearrange my plans on all my projects here on the homestead and get that shelter finished, because it needs to be done before we have a lot of guys out there. You know, if it's a raining, storming day, we would, of course, postpone. But it would be nice if it was a rather hot day, because, you know, in South Georgia, it's still hot all the way through December. You might get cold, and then it gets hot again, and then it gets cold again anyway. So it'd be nice to have that shelter finished and have a place for everyone to be able to stand out of the rain without actually being in the old classroom out there. So, and tree limbs fell on the roof of the classroom. I got to get out and repair a couple of pieces of tin where the tree limb fell and dented it and damaged the roof, because it's not doing the floor in there any good by leaking. But that's coming up down the road. I will try to do some videoing as I can to show y'all what all we have out there. And I still have the new targets that I showed y'all a few videos back. And I've got to get out there and get those hung so that we will have, you know, maybe not the church group, because it's going to be self-defense training and firearm safety training, but I'd still like to get them targets hung up, and I need to pick up a few more cans of white spray paint. That makes it easy to tell where you hit when you shoot. But also, deer season is approaching. You know, where my son-in-law, oldest son-in-law, is putting out corn for the deer and got the trail camera going and all of that back there. So I don't want to be back there when he's hunting doing a lot of shooting. But you know, it is what it is. I like to enjoy being out on the range, and whether it's deer season or not, I have not seen where that really affected the deer coming through to the feeder. After hunting season has been going for several weeks, especially once rifle season starts, most of the big bucks that people want to hunt have moved to, you know, moving and feeding at night. They stay deep hidden during the day, harder for people to find and get. But either way, I've still got all this metal here, and I have been looking online at some plastic sheeting for that carport frame that my brother told me that I could have, so that I could turn that into a greenhouse. So that project, you know, I've got to get it out here and got to get it put together, and I've got to buy the 1x4s and split them and put the strips on there and staple the plastic on. So I've got to order the plastic and got to frame out each end so I can put a door on each end so you can allow air to flow through when necessary. And you know, there's a lot to just, other than just ordering the plastic and then putting it on a steel frame. So that's another project added to the list. But having an 18 by 20 greenhouse is not huge by no means, but being able to take, like, I had a lemon tree out here that my best friend gave me years ago, and I kept it for a couple of years, and then I had a frost come through early winter one year, and I didn't get it put inside in time, and it killed it. Lemons don't like cold weather, so that threw me for a loop, and I lost that tree. But having a greenhouse through the winter and, you know, fall will allow me some space to grow. What is that she's playing with? I think it's a gecko lizard. What you got? Whatever it is, it's got a tail. Yeah, it's a gecko lizard. Leave it alone, girl. Let him run. Let him run. He eats bugs, and he don't hurt nobody. Go on. Hide before she gets you. Go on. But anyway, you know, an 18 by 20, a greenhouse at all for me, since I don't have one, would be a huge step up in my prepping and being able to grow food. Eventually, I hope to have raised beds on one side of that greenhouse, you know, maybe 12 to 18 inches deep, so that I can, like, plant potatoes and stuff, and maybe tomatoes or whatever in those raised beds, and have a lot better weed control since it's not out in the open. But, you know, the biggest thing is to be able to plant later in the year and plant earlier in the year, and makes things a little more reasonable as far as being able to grow a longer period of the year. And in South Georgia, I've only got a couple of months that I really can't grow, so that's going to be a big plus for me. But guys, I hope you're prepping. I've been trying to keep up with some of the news that's going on, and things are not going well around the world and in our country as well. So we need to be prepping. I'm not going to get deep into why things are happening the way they are. Everybody has their own beliefs and their own opinions, but I don't think we have the leadership that we need in this country to keep our economy strong and going. So it's just a matter of time before this economy completely collapses and the dollar is no longer worth anything. So you need to be prepping. You need to stockpile food and supplies to the rafters, as people say. And truck coming back by. But you need to be stockpiling. And you need, I've done quite a few videos. If you go back into my old videos, you'll see there's some I've done on medical and all. And I really should make a list and post it on, what all you really basic necessities that you need to include in your prep supplies for medical and, food, what's suggested. I've got some charts that I've saved over the years that show you what to plant when and all that stuff, and what's a good companion crop to go with this crop. Like the Indians used to raise the peas with corn because they would use the corn plant as, a pole to run up. So there's just things you can do that will actually help your garden thrive better without having to work as hard. But guys, thank y'all very much for watching my videos. Thank you all that have subscribed to the channel. One of my buddies that I've known for quite a few years, I don't know how many years it's been. It's probably been 10, if not more. But either way, told me this morning, he says he watches my videos sometimes. I said, thank you. So it's good to find somebody that you actually know that watches the channel, and I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. But y'all remember the two things that I always tell you that's more important than anything else. Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. Y'all be safe and be prepared.